5, 4, 3, 2, 1. People of the world, hello and welcome to Marketing as a Foreign Language, episode 206. I don't believe in coincidences. Yeah, you do. You already knew that. Travis Rosbach. Okay. Did you know that Travis was 14 years of age when I think he met his father for the first time, which is already incredible. His father was down in the Virgin Islands. He had opened up a few dive schools. If you know anything about diving into the ocean, it takes a certain kind of entrepreneur. So I'll let you guess how many businesses Travis has had. Did you guess 3? Was it 7? No, it's more like 10, son. 10 businesses. Shut the front door. It's a lot of businesses. He's got a little kiddo. And backstage, we were talking about how we are the first generation, you, me, Travis, and everyone else, of people that, how do I describe this? Our great grandkids are going to have a lot of media to digest of us. They're going to be able to see us, hear us, understand our life story. So, man, there's a lot of it that we're going to get from Travis. So welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Put your digital hands together for Mr. Rosbach. Let's go.
That was awesome, Kellen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Tell you what, if I were 12 and I had never met my dad, man, that's tough. I'm not going to lie to you. That's just rough. Was it just rough or am I tripping and things were fine?
Wow, you just come right out swinging, don't you? Good question. I think it was one of those things where I don't know what I don't know. So, and I'd also had a stepdad from the age of 5 to 12. He was a Vietnam vet, Agent Orange, PTSD, all of that kind of trauma, drugs and alcohol that went with that. So actually they divorced. My mom divorced him when I was 12. So from 12 to 14 was actually kind of a fun, smoother run because he wasn't around anymore. And then when I was 14, my grandpa came knocking at the door. You want to meet your dad? Yes. Okay. Well, he's down in St. Croix, the U.S. Virgin Islands. Don't know where that is, but cool. You buy the ticket and I'm on my way. And so, yeah, that's how that happened.
Okay. So we got to go back. Let's go back. Your parents were together for some period of time. When did that stop? How old were you when he
I was really young. I've asked my mom and my dad both, and neither of them can really give me a straight answer. They kind of a fun story in the Rosbach history was in the Willamette Valley in Oregon, in Turner, which is just outside of Salem, right next to the Enchanted Forest. Shout out to the Enchanted Forest. If you can help them out at all, please do support them. We owned a fair bit of property. And it was my grandpa, it was said that my grandpa had bought it to start a vineyard. And they being, the masses, told him it was not possible. Wine does not grow in Oregon. It only grows in France. He wanted to do it anyway. So he bought this massive hill with all this land to grow grapes. My mom and dad ended up getting divorced, and my grandpa sold it to another woman who wanted to grow grapes. And they laughed her all the way to the insane asylum is how the story goes. I don't know if it's true or not, but it makes kind of an interesting fable in our history. She then had to sell it to the people who then did turn it into Willamette Valley Vineyards and now are just killing it in the wine industry here in Oregon.
Wow. Okay. So very young. Can't get a straight answer from the folks as to when precisely it occurred. As I've mentioned a few times on the show, there's a term Malcolm Gladwell coined, eminent orphan, which describes people who grew up without one or both of their parents doing incredible things as they get older, because there is a grit and resilience that comes with that, for sure. And it's easy to go, it wasn't that bad, and it was but that's just stuff eminent orphans say. It is catastrophic, is my take on it. having lost my father when I was 2 years old, just absolutely unthinkably painful. But you just kind of get used to it. It's like, marathon runners, what, they feel good? You're telling me marathon runners on mile 21 are feeling great? No, they're just getting used to that unbelievable agony that would drop most people. And so you go about your life. Let's talk about early childhood. Actually, before we do that, let's give people a snapshot of now. These 10 businesses. Give me just a real quick overview of your entrepreneurship.
Boy, I have had a real estate investment company in Florida, started a fence company in Bend, Oregon, started a screen printing, signs and banner and embroidery company in Oahu, started Hydro Flask, double vacuum insulated stainless steel water bottles. I have right now the Tumalo Group, which helps people do business and all of the facets thereof. I've got my hands in a couple other water bottle companies and other companies right now. And but I spend a lot of time with my daughter and out at my property cutting down trees.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So as you all can hear, serial entrepreneurship. Was there anyone growing up that taught you this? Was it your dad when you were 14 that you ended up getting there? Or is it, how much of this is genetic? I mean, because it's a bizarre amount of businesses. You know what I mean? I shouldn't say bizarre. It's a lot. It's a lot of businesses. So what spring did this come from?
It's a hybrid answer. Part of it was when I was 12, we had a neighbor who died, and we didn't really know him very well, but we were eating government cheese. My mom was a single mother with 4 kids, running her business. She actually started her own daycare center. And so I guess that's kind of where I saw a little bit of business, but it wasn't great. And I remember thinking, like, no, you actually have to make money in order to stay in business. And she was losing money because she was just watching the kids for free. And so the neighbor dies, and went into his house, and his sister said I could have anything that I wanted. And there was a picture of this naked woman on the wall, and I was like, well, that's kind of cool. But being 12, it just wasn't all that practical. And we got upstairs. There was this bookshelf. The lights turned on. The angels started singing. The cherubs were fluttering around. There was rainbows and butterflies and harpsichords. I was like, that is what I want. I didn't know what the books were. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it was, but that was what I wanted. So she gave me the entire bookshelf full of books. Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, all the old like 80s and 90s hardcore classic business books, self-help books, things like that, Wayne Dyer, all of these things. And growing up in Salem, it rains a lot in the Willamette Valley. And I was accustomed to being grounded a lot. So I spent a lot of time in my room and between the rain and being grounded. So I read a lot of books. And so when I got this library, it just was like a light switch just turned on. I was like, I really love business. This is really fascinating to me. It was like this science and an art and a little bit of skill and a little bit of luck and all this and all that. But I didn't really know what that was going to be or do. And then when I was 14 and I met my dad, and I showed up, and he was like actually running a business, and I'm watching him run his business thinking, oh, wait, hold on. Like Brian Tracy says, like, you shouldn't be doing that. And then sure enough, like it would work or it wouldn't work. And I'd learned from that. And then when I was 18, I moved down there, and literally like the day that I showed up, he just gave me the keys, and he's like, I'm going on vacation. I'll see you later. So I was just left, to the fire to go run this business. And running businesses in the US Virgin Islands was a trip. And so like doing that, I think really prepared me to do, modern day corporate stuff a little bit, because that was really bloody gritty. And so all of this is just kind of like, it's a little easier. Nobody's, holding me up at gunpoint or shooting at us or anything else. So it's just a little bit more mundane.
Were you ever held up at gunpoint or shot at?
I've been shot at once. We had gunshots a couple times near us, and then we were held up a few times.
In the U.S. Virgin Islands?
Yeah. Yeah, but still a great place to go. And I still have a lot of love for the USVI, and I don't want to discourage anybody from going there.
Wow.
It's not too
Okay.
late for that, because I just totally ruined it for them. But
No,
yeah,
you
I
did
do
no
love
such.
it.
No, you did no such thing. Yeah, I'm curious about those stories. So you were in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and you were at the shop. You were at a club. Where were you when you
Yeah,
got?
the first time I got shot at, or the time I got shot at, I guess I should say, is we were coming into Christiansted. I was with a tourist couple in a rental Jeep, which I think had a big part of it.
Okay.
And there's a bit of a bottleneck right coming into town. And I was sitting in the back of the Jeep. I looked over and I hear, "Hey, white boy, pop, pop, pop." And this guy was like shooting at us. Luckily,
Whoa.
the guy driving had the wherewithal to accelerate around the traffic, and he jumped up on the sidewalk and he drove around
Right.
and got us out of there. That was scary. Another time, we were driving back from, we had a cruise ship in Frederickstead, and we were driving back over to Cane Bay, and my Jeep blew a tire. So we pulled over. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. We're drunk, hungover. It's awful. Fell asleep on the Jeep, and we hear rustling in the bushes, and somebody's running at us. And then we start hearing gunshots. Somebody was running at that person and shooting at them. So there was about 4 of us. We jumped up and ran over to, it's called the Westin or Carambola. They had a sentry, a guard shack. And so we go running up on it, and the guard came out with his gun, getting ready to shoot us, because he thought
Right.
we were the ones shooting, coming to jack him. So he draws down on us. Meanwhile, the guy behind us is still shooting at the other guy. And we all went in, we hunkered down and locked the doors. We promise it's not us the one shooting. And we hunkered down underneath the desk and waited for the police to come. The police came, they started shooting. Like it was a mess. Yeah. I haven't really told that story before. I should probably talk to my therapist about that too. I should put that on the list.
Put it on the list.
I think I was probably 17 or 8. No, it's probably about 18 when that happened. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, when I got shot at, though, I think that was at 14.
So you were 14. Oh, that one of those original times.
It was an OG trip.
You went down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it might have been the first or the second trip actually down there.
So can you identify at all with the life experience?
Spiritual knockdown, or whatever the term du jour is for that. And a lot of healing has happened, a lot of forgiveness. And now actually it's pretty interesting, because he's an electrician, and he comes out to my property and he helped hook up my well. And so he and I hung out for about a month or so working on that thing. And it was really cool just to meet him as an adult and see him as a human, that, like, I got my shit, I got my flaws, and so does he. He didn't ask to go to Vietnam. He didn't ask for all that.
Right.
So yeah, it was cathartic to kind of work with him this last winter on that project.
Yeah. It's almost like there's something to spiritual investing, if that makes any sense at all. It's like, yeah, I can own a bunch of property and I can get passive income from that property, and it can gain equity, and I can sell it, and I can roll that over to new property, and my tax guy's happy because I have an LLC and I can buy more property, and but whatever that is, I think is also true of, I don't feel like it. I don't feel, what I mean? Like, I don't feel like going and doing that good thing right now. I don't feel like it at all. You do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You do it anyway. Like, my son wanted to play video games. I had no desire last night. Zippo. Like, not a bone in my body. Get up anyway. Do it anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like loving someone in hell is a lot harder than loving someone in heaven.
Yeah. My daughter wants me to get down on the floor and play, on the train tracks, the train with her. And it's like, my body kind of aches. I'm kind of sore. I don't really feel like sitting on the ground and playing on the train, playing the trains with her, but she just loves it. And so when she loves it and I see that in her, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is cool. We're doing the right thing. This is well worth it. It's good. It's good because I figure, I can always go to the chiropractor tomorrow.
Yeah, man. And I keep meeting people in my life. They're like, oh yeah, this back surgery and this surgery over here. And that's like the respect for elders thing is, the older I get, the more it makes sense. It's like, dude, there's a lot of suffering. You make it to 60, 70, man, you've endured, that body is breaking down on you, and you got to push through. So a lot more forgiveness is coming out of this particular human being as I get older, I think. So, okay. I like to pull it back because there's so many more stories that formed who you are. So very young, 5 years old. Do you remember when your mom got together with your stepdad?
I do. I remember the very, very day she told me, or she asked me, she says, what do you think of Dave? I said, nope, don't like him. Anyone else? I like the other one better. There's another guy named Garth. What's a really interesting story is that, so Garth dated my mom when I was probably 4 or 5 and in Salem, Oregon. This is crazy. I was probably 35 or so down in Orlando at a PGA golf trade show with Hydro Flask. And who walks up but Garth?
Whoa.
And I'm like, and he was buddies with one of our employees, Charlie Ortega. Charlie's like, hey, this is Garth. I'm like, oh, I once knew a guy named Garth in Salem, Oregon. He's like, yeah, that's me. Get out of here. Shut the front door. Yeah. So that was really, it was like a small world. I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of glad my mom, well, I shouldn't say anything else. But yeah, that was
wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Small world.
You know what?
He became a golf pro.
He became a golf pro?
Yeah, and then like major golf. I can't remember exactly what he was doing. This is probably about 5-6 years ago, but yeah, small world.
Wow. Yeah, it's easy to look at the chaos of the universe and think it's just filled with coincidences, but I don't know. I see order in the chaos.
I do too. I'm starting to see it more and more, and I'm starting to see it as not so much as coincidences as like when I notice and recognize those coincidences, I take them more and more as, okay, I'm on the exact right path at the exact right time, doing the exact right thing. And that's just confirmation that I cannot give up no matter how hard I think it is right now. That just told me that, nope, I'm exactly where I need to be. If this is all scripted or whatever is going on here, I'm exactly right where I need to be.
Yeah, I love that. My mom was a big fan of dimes. She used those as an external manifestation of what you just described. And so she would find a dime and go, yep, like this is heading to the right. And that has extended past her life all the way into my life. So I find dimes. My daughter, who never met my mom, you know what I mean, will find a dime. And we did this yin yang dime art project where half of, the yin is tails and the yang is heads. And we hot glued these dimes onto this circle cork board. And that's hanging in my living room.
Kellen, that's so awesome. That's so cool. Multi-generational dime finders. That's so cool. I don't know that I've ever, I found like maybe 2 in my life. So that's incredible. That's really
maybe next time you see a dime, you'll go, oh, okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'll send it to you.
Yeah, right. Add it to because they fall off from time to time, so we have to kind of replace,
and they're becoming harder and harder to come about.
That's exactly right.
Our wallets are shrinking, so therefore we don't have cash, therefore we don't have change.
Bro, who's got dimes? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
don't walk around with them anymore, do we?
Okay, so you ran into Garth. And okay, so you had a very visceral reaction to the man that she chose, and she chose him anyway.
She did, yeah. And like 8 months later, I had a brother. So yeah.
Whoa.
And then another. And my mom was like, I really want a daughter. And so she sold her car, and I think I was 12 at that time. And they had just opened up the orphanages in Bucharest, Romania. Ceausescu had just been I believe that Ceausescu had just been overtaken or ruled or overthrown. And so my mom sold her car, took off to Romania, and adopted my Romanian gypsy sister. Came home, divorced my stepdad.
Whoa.
Yeah. So now I have a Romanian gypsy married to a Mexican. So I have gypsykin nephews and nieces. It's
Right.
awesome. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the plot of every single narrative I've ever seen in my entire life, comedies, tragedies, it doesn't matter. Any single human narrative focuses around trouble. Have you ever seen a show? Like the only shows that don't have trouble sometimes are like Sesame Street. But even they try to incorporate a problem that needs to be solved.
Yeah. Overcoming hardship. It's the hero's journey. Yeah.
That's right. And it's every show all the time, always. I just keep thinking to myself, when are they ever going to come up with a show where it's just fine?
But when people watch it, or is that going to be too boring?
That's my point. This is the entire point, which is the drama of our lives. You can say what you want about it, right? You can look at it from the Buddhist perspective. The first noble truth is there is suffering. Is what it is, right? There just is, man. So, but if we don't identify as much with our personalities and with our bodies, then I think it's easy to kind of look at it from a bird's eye view and go, "Whoa! Like, look at that movie. Look at that thing. That thing, like, it is interesting." Say what you will about it. You know what I mean? You say what you will about it. It's not boring. Ain't nothing boring about it. Very entertaining stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So, okay. So Gypsy's sister eating government cheeses. A lot of people talk about being poor as a catalyst for future entrepreneurship. Was it for you?
I don't know. I don't think. Okay, so I categorize poor as a mindset. Broke is a temporary state of economic affairs. Poor is and oftentimes a multi-generational mindset. Poverty is consciousness, but so is wealth. And when I was very young, I heard a story. It was a little ditty about these two twin brothers who had some knowledge that their dad they knew that their dad had been incarcerated. He was a bad, hardcore, lifetime criminal, and the brothers, East Coast and West Coast, didn't really know each other. Somehow, some interviewer met both of them, talked to them, and said, "How did you end up where you are?" Well, one brother was extremely successful, had a great family, had a great career, happy, healthy, doing all that. The other guy was in prison, and they asked both of them, unbeknownst to either, "How did you get here? What happened to create this life?" And they both answered the same way. They said, "Well, look at my dad. Like, what else was I supposed to do besides, be a lifetime felon?" The other guy says, "Look at my dad. Like, what else was I supposed to do besides become successful?" And I was very fortunate to hear that. And I remember thinking, oh yeah, just because this is the way that it is doesn't mean that this is the way it has to be. So, I think over the years, gaining wealth, losing wealth, gaining wealth, losing wealth, like I keep stepping up and up on Sancho. I keep stepping up on the platforms, but the underwriting goal of my life is that I do not want to pass on generational poverty to my daughter. And so I made a very clear, conscious decision to not have children until I was financially stable and secure and ready to go. And so now in our home, we have wealth consciousness. And so like the other day, my sister said something about, "Why don't you just do this?" I was like, "I don't have the money for that." And my daughter goes, she's 4, she goes, "Dad, we've got a lot of money. We're okay." I was like, great, good. Whether we can afford that or not, my daughter is coming up different than when I came up, which was we can't afford it. We don't have the money, not now. So, but you know what? It did. It caused me to go out and figure out ways to hustle and get my own Air Jordans. So,
yeah, dude. Oh man, yeah. The cycle goes on, and look, there are rich, miserable people. There are,
I know them.
there are, you're familiar with these people.
I know some of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mean that in a flippant way. I mean miserable, like misery. Like money. It is quantified human time, is what it is. Like you want someone to give you a massage, you got money, you get that massage. You want like a exotic pear flown in from Japan, then yes, you have the time. You can use people's time. But this, I mean, it does like it. I don't know. When you don't have money, it just seems like it's going to solve all your problems, and this is the trap.
It is, and that's it's a trap, and it's a fable that is told by the capitalistic cultures that you work hard 40 hours a week, 40 years of your life, 40 grand, and you'll be happy when you get the money. The day after success is not really something that I read about. It's not really something that I see a lot, and I don't hear a lot about those. I mean, that would be a good podcast or even a good book, mini series. I don't know what it'd be. It'd be a trilogy. I don't know what's bigger than a trilogy series, like the day after success. It's like, what did the money do? How did the day after the money actually change your life? And it's not how it is perceived or portrayed on TV.
That the older I get, the more I realize that TV, man, holy influence.
That bloody thing. Take it out, shoot it. Just
holy influence, man. It has a huge influence on our lives. And I was just interviewing Chinobe, who grew up no electricity. He was 10 minutes from the temple and the palace. I'm sorry. And the palace is where people would be playing music at all hours of the day, trained like royal musicians. And he's traveled the world. He had that vision in his mind. He made it reality. And he's like, yeah, we were poor, man. Like no shoes, poor, and third floor poor. And he's like, but a lot of love. And I'm like, dude, that's a lot more than a lot of people can say. Like actually having your parents' attention. You know what I mean?
Especially in this culture.
Dude, this is how we raise our children in the West.
Like how much more fortunate is he to grow up poor, dirt floor with loving parents than we are to grow up poor, or at least I was to grow up poor with only one part-time parent,
Oh man. Yeah, for real. Lillian August. Wow, what a journey. Yeah, shout out to Lillian in chat. Yeah, incredible stuff.
That's so cool thank you, Kellen, for saying that, because every time I listen to your podcast, I always think, gosh, do you think anybody will ever respond on mine or go and put a chat on mine? So now I feel good. Thank you.
Nice. There we go. I love it. No coincidence. So yeah, dude, we've got 2 minutes remaining. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, really, we could pick up like even like 12, 10, 12, because like, yeah, we bounce forward a bit, but on the next episode, I mean, I think there's a lot more to dive into, not on Garth, but the other guy, and just getting into kind of like school. We didn't really talk much about school, so we can dive in there. There's a lot we can talk about. So excited for that. But we got a minute left. I'd like to make sure that you have a chance to tell folks what you're doing, how they can contact you. So now's the time to do that.
Cool. Well, I'm doing the Tumalo group. I'm doing anything basically business related. Like if you have any sourcing issues or questions, you want to create a product, that's kind of what I'm doing now, is helping people create products. TumaloGroup.com. Travis Rosbach on LinkedIn, Rosbach is usually the best way to get a hold of me. We'll get back to you. We'll start it from there. But yeah, anything and all things business related.
Yeah. How do you spell Tumalo?
TUMALO, and then group, GROUP.com, TRAVISROSBACH at LinkedIn, however that works. Maybe it's not at, I don't know, but it's on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you can find them. You can also leave a comment. Marketing is a foreign language every single Monday through Friday, unless I'm feeling terrible. 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can listen to us after the fact on iTunes or Spotify or YouTube. If you want to join us for the live show, you can do so. YouTube.com/SCUBA. Send it rising. We'd love to hear your voice. Thank you. Special shout out to Travis Rosbach. Let's go on the show today. Being honest, being truthful. We love it. Final word, Travis.
Thank you, Kellen. That's awesome. Thank you for having me. I'd love to come back. It's been good. Good therapeutic session.
All right. Bye for now, everybody.